Listen, so we asked you to come on because, I mean, I try my best to recap this for you and tell you this story, but it's really like explaining a porn plot to your wife. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. I'm aware of it, but
And you end up coming before you finish the story.
that is true, Bob. Thank
Yeah.
you. But
That
long
didn't
story,
happen. That did not happen when he was explaining it to me.
no, oh,
Yet.
we weren't on FaceTime. You don't know what's going on my end. So this gentleman by the name of Stuttering John, you're familiar with him, sir?
Yes, I met John.
Yes. So we have had this I would say back and forth, but for a lot of time it was just forth from him
Yeah.
and not much back from me. Eventually I decided to go back at him, and thus the Uncle Rico show kind of happened, where the three of us watch his shows that he broadcasts. There's nothing evasive in his life. It's everything that he puts out there.
Mhm.
And we bust balls. We have fun. We kind of give him a little, how's your mother? Little knuckle noogie headlock type thing.
Okay. Does he still continue to come back at you guys?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
we've had now Carl is the godfather of this. Carl used to do just small segments on John in between his jam-packed show with other stuff. And first John struck his channel, then John started striking our channels, all while saying none of this bothers him. He can
He
take
also
it.
threatened to break my legs and sue me. But yeah, keep going.
Yes, there's
What
that.
had you said?
All we do is play clips of John's show and then goof on him. That's all it is.
And while there is a huge fan base for this, some of the fans are not as nice as the broadcasters, if you will. And things are said. John is a very public person. He tends to put his family in public quite a bit, which isn't necessarily the smartest move in this environment. And from that, people take a lot of shots at his family. They make it personal. We don't really do that. We just are really here to kind of laugh about what he puts out, the stuff he says that we know isn't true. He's a pathological liar.
Now hold on. Let's start with each of these things. Is the pathological lying part of the show? Is he just doing shtick, or is he insisting on things that aren't so?
He's literally saying he's in Jamaica right now and posting pictures from 2019 on his Twitter. So I don't know if that's shtick or not. I don't know what he's up to.
And nobody challenged him and said, I bet you can't go to Jamaica this weekend. You understand? He brought up Jamaica himself.
Well, he's going to say that we're all stupid. You all fell for it. That's what he does.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I know there's some people out there who know your history on Stern and the legendary narcissism test that took place. And at first, that is the first thing I wanted to discuss with you. But you told me basically you need a lot more information, a lot more time with somebody before you can make that assessment.
We were looking at narcissistic traits using an inventory, an actual written test that people had to take, and Robin took it, and she did very, very well on it. She got a very high score.
One of the best bits ever, Drew.
Yes.
And interestingly, what I remember more than anything is that Howard was saying, God, if I hadn't had therapy, I would have been the same as Robin, but he scored about a 15, as I remember. And I thought that's interesting. The therapy does work and people's narcissistic traits can reduce. And the real problem Robin had, right, guys, people missed this piece. I mean, Howard had at her for the high score, but the part that she got upset with was this all happened in public on the air, and my co-author and I, who published the original study and then wrote a book, just described that in the book, but she felt we should have asked her for permission to write it down, which didn't occur to us because it had all happened in public, and I should have, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a weird spot because you're right. Like it did happen on a global at that time, not even national anymore. I mean, it's serious, as long as you had internet, you could listen to it. So now it's on this global show, and then you get your head bit off for putting it in the book.
It
That's
really
our
hurt. I
Robin.
didn't like that. I didn't like that at all because I really like Robin.
That's
Really
our
like her.
Robin. Love her.
Yeah.
So the narcissism thing is stuff you have to investigate, kind of dig a little deeper. It's not what we're going to jump into. But
It's especially when I really don't know somebody at all. And
Right.
and there are things that, like, if somebody's manic or somebody's using substances, I can see that much the way you can see a rash. You know what I mean? There are certain things you can just see.
I gotta go
other
check on the
things you're
kitchen
like, well, I'm
right
not
now.
sure. That could be, a lot of things. But
Yeah.
but certain behaviors you can sort of look at and say, well, that is consistent with whatever.
Well, if it's a rash you want to see, get the calamine lotion out because these next few clips are going to highlight something that I think is John's biggest problem in life right now, and that is his consumption of alcohol.
Mhm.
I will put money down that this dude is an alcoholic. He's
Okay,
got
so stop there. I mean, one of the requisites for that diagnosis is, in my humble opinion, is a family history that suggests that genetic lineage is there.
Okay.
So do we know anything about his family? Anybody in the family have this problem, this issue?
abusive father.
Was he
Correct.
drinking when he was abusive?
That I cannot confirm but we definitely have experts in the chat here who have studied John for years. And
I mean,
they
it makes
know-
it more fun if you're drinking and you beat him. No.
That is true. That is,
is
and it
fun.
gives them more of a chance, because you don't have all your faculties. But no, I
Well, hold
know.
on. Let me just say this. He is Puerto Rican. Does that
Okay,
help
is
with
that-
this
where does that go?
diagnosis?
Where's that on the scale, Doc? Is that,
It's not Scottish Irish. You know what I mean?
No.
Oh, but he is Danish.
look at that. Dad was a
Yeah.
drunk. There's our expert.
well, there
He's
you
our
go.
Dr. Drew.
Okay, so he has a
There's our expert.
So if that is true, he already has a 50% probability of inheriting that gene.
Oh wow.
And then if you see evidence of the illness, that pretty much confirms it. So what is that evidence?
Okay, well, let's start. This is a while back. This he posted on his Instagram, and this is after a successful show at a funeral, and he's in his car, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
The fact that you would take a gig doing comedy at a funeral should be a tip off.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Hey, I got hired to perform at somebody's funeral. I had to do stand up at a funeral. Is it cool that I say that I killed?
Ugh.
I know, more upsetting than the drunk driving, that joke. I'm with you. Doc,
Oh my
that's just a
God.
little something that he put himself up on. Like, that to me is the crazy part, is like, if you're in that condition, why are you posting that shit on social media when you're in a car?
Well, he's not driving, right? He's parked.
Those didn't look like back seats to me. They
Well,
had
it's not like he was going to get the car towed home.
But and he said he got high. Is that what he said?
He got hired.
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 to do
But the
jokes.
guy might
like
have been
this.
going to hell. That's why they had hired John.
Right.
He was evil.
I can't conclude anything yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Next clip. I respect that. Next
Yeah.
clip, we have a little thing called drunk math that John is an expert in.
Oh, this
Drunk
is good.
map.
Yeah,
Math.
math.
Mathematics.
Yeah,
Math.
mathematics.
Math. Okay.
There we
This
go.
is when you can't admit you have a problem. You come up with things like this.
Yes. We just go.
Barry Terry. John is drunk. Now, Ted, this is my second 12-ounce beer. I'm not even finished with it yet. But apparently,
Sorry to cut him off in mid burp, but just want to let you know the show had been on for 43 seconds. So that's his second beer. Okay.
Well, is it 6 o'clock in the morning or is it 9 o'clock at night? What
This
time
was
is it?
afternoon.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
12-ounce beer. I'm not even finished with it yet. But apparently,
Don't make me do the math again.
no, here, Tony. If I have 2 beers in an hour, how
That's
many
not
beers?
bad.
How many beers are in my system if one beer dissipates every hour?
Okay. Doc, talk
Yeah.
to me about that numbers
Yeah.
game.
No, it doesn't work like that. I know people that is drunk math for sure.
Okay.
But plenty of non-alcoholics do drunk math. I've heard other people do drunk math, but we're sort of this is like that zone where I'm like, okay, I'm listening. All right.
You're getting a few little beeps on the radar, right?
So that's called minimizing, right? And so minimization and rationalization, these are classic defense strategies if people are drinkers or alcoholic addicts. But really, I need to see some consequence and progression. At least show me more. What else you got?
Strap in, baby.
Oh, please. Don't you worry. We're on the stairway.
Should we mention to Dr. Drew he's on Klonopin as well? Is that an important part of this?
He's on how much Klonopin he's taking?
Daily. I don't know.
No, I would say it's a 0.05 probably.
So a small dose.
It's probably a small dose.
But it is interesting though. But by the time when I was running a program, I would say 90% of our alcoholics, by the time they came in for treatment, were also on a benzodiazepine like Klonopin.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
See, like, you don't want to mix those two things, though, right?
Well, yeah, that is a good question. You shouldn't mix those two, right, Doc?
You shouldn't, but it happens all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Do you have like a thing?
I'm asking you to do simple math here. If I have 2 beers in 1 hour, and in 1 hour,
Yeah, Doc, he's getting angry that they can't figure out his fake mathematic equation.
Right.
That's, I don't know where
that's called righteous indignation.
Ah.
And that's how you put people off when they start to try to break through your denial and your defense strategies. So you express righteous indignation. And it's what I always tell family and stuff. I said, don't laugh at the righteous indignation, because that is just an attempt to put you off the hunt, off the scent.
Like that.
Dissipates. How many beers do I have?
That should go down. You should be on an even keel. Like good enough where you get like.
This is Chad and Tony. I know both of them. They're sober. They're just idiots.
Maybe a slight buzz.
Can anyone answer this fucking question?
I would let you drive me home.
But I wouldn't let you fuck me.
I'm gonna do this one.
Tony, don't be a fucking idiot. Just pay attention.
I did it 3 times for Chad. I'll do it 3 times for you.
Tony's dumber than me.
I'm a moron. I'm a college dropout.
Now, if I have
Tony, pay attention.
2 beers, but I had 2 beers in 1 hour.
Okay.
And then we already know that every hour, 1 beer leaves your system. Then how many beers do I have in my system?
I'm going to say 1.
Oh, God. Yes.
Fucking idiot.
Chad thought he was wrong. That's right.
But imagine explaining that if a cop pulled you over.
Yeah. He would do it. There's no doubt he would launch it. But there's a quality. Poor John. He's starting to sound like Tan Mom a little bit. There's a quality here. We're like, John, what are you doing, dude?
If I have 2 tanning bottles in 1 hour. This is so now we're taking another step on the staircase. This was a show he did not too long ago where okay, let me explain to you this. His extracurricular activities consist of going to the local pub
every day,
either on the West Coast or on the East Coast, wherever he is. But he has a specific location. He had a few, but he'd been kicked out of a few of them as well.
Why did he get kicked out?
Arguing politics with the bartender, right, Carl? Is that
He seems to think that Joe Biden's doing a great job, and some people disagree with that for some reason. I don't know why.
And what time of day does he hang out there?
4 p.m. Yeah,
4 p.m.
Because I'm just thinking, he visited, if I remember right, he visited a daytime radio talk show I had in Los Angeles. I'm 90% sure this happened, and he was quite sober.
Okay,
and he looked a good bit more fit.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Lately here. So I'm kind of worried about it. He could not have been a nicer guy on that visit, by the way.
How long ago was this, Dr. Drew?
Gotta be like 7-8 years ago, something like that.
That story checks out.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're
Things have changed.
you're clicking on the way to the top of the roller coaster right now. Wait till you see
Well,
the-
that's what I'm wondering. I'm
Yeah.
wondering what happened. Okay.
Okay, you know the picture that you're seeing right now of him? That's a guy that says he works out every day at the gym.
Well, my friend Bert Kreischer says the same thing. And then he rewards himself with a bunch of beer afterwards. So it's all right. He's not alone. He's not alone with that behavior.
All right.
Bert is Einstein compared to Cedric John.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, and his stories are truer.
So now this is
Bird does
so
tell the truth.
also I want to also mention, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, Carl. He mentioned a dollar amount on how much he spends at the pub
Yes.
a month.
Mm.
Now, I don't think he was lying or making it up, because it came out real easy and real quick. And he claimed $1,500 a month
Hmm.
he spends at the bar.
It was $50 a day, and then you do the quick math, and it works out to almost a salary.
Yeah,
Per
and that's
year.
that's
It's
that's beer,
half a heroin habit.
right? And that's
Yeah,
beer.
right.
That's not like martinis or any high end drink.
Yeah, I don't think he's a
Coors
hard
beer.
liquor guy.
No, it's
He's
Coors
just
Light.
a beer guy.
just
yeah.
beer.
Oh no, he's not buying the shots. You're buying him shots.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
It's just beer. Is that just, so to speak?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strictly.
Yeah, and he eats 7-Eleven hot dogs.
Okay.
Well, no,
And-
chicken wings, 7-Eleven
chicken
chicken
wings.
wings. He
Yeah.
ordered that a couple nights
He's
ago,
living it
but
up.
this is the condition he was in, so I don't want to necessarily fault. Take a listen.
But you know what I will say, and I will say this to the world, and also you're not wrong. It all looks horrible, and I said that. You know what? 100%.
Dwyer sounds Italian.
You and your crowd make friends.
I don't, because you
Pretty girl.
don't need me.
Right.
You don't need me for validation. You don't need me
Oh.
for anything.
I
You're
was
just
like,
a fan
right,
and want to help me.
right. And
Just to give you a little catch up to this story, this is DG, his former co-host. He is now on the outs. John hates him, and he will never be back on again. So, just
And,
wanted to
and
let
what
you
is
know.
it? And what is it he wants to help him with?
With his show? DG,
Not with his health.
No.
nobody's allowed to help with that. Nobody's allowed to bring that up. If you
I
do,
said I would go to rehab with him if he would go, John.
Oh wow.
I'd go with him.
Yeah.
But-
Interesting.
and Bob
yeah.
really needs it, so I was hoping John would agree.
well, I only do cocaine when I'm tired. So, no, but no,
Therapeutic. I get it. For depression and fatigue.
But Dr. Drew, I think you would agree that if you drink Mick Ultras, you can't be an alcoholic. It's a light beer. It's fine, right?
That's what he would say.
It's
Has
said it many
drinking
times.
beers.
Yeah.
Dr. Drew, drinking beer. I had a friend growing up that was able to drink like 20 beers, and he would get a little, like a normal person would get drunk drinking it.
Yeah.
Then he would have basically 2 beers, and he would be as drunk as he has been at 20. It would just go quicker to him when he became an alcoholic, basically.
Yeah. There's a couple things here. So that's because his liver is starting to fail and he's not metabolizing the alcohol. And so he's
Okay.
gonna, plus there's something about alcohol over time that the brain kicks into blackout and things more easily. We really don't know what that is. It could all be the liver stuff. But I will share with you that there's research out there where they're trying to figure out what are the markers for this disease, for the genetics. And the only thing that's stood up to scientific scrutiny is this one characteristic, and that is resistance to alcohol intoxication. So if you're the kind of person that can drink a lot and not be, I mean, 20 beers for me would just, 3 beers destroys me.
Yeah.
But if you're resistant to the intoxication and then dad was a drunk, that's a sign. That's a sign.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Suggested.
Dr. Steve from Weird Medicine on SiriusXM told me the same thing. He said the reason why John seems intoxicated after 2 beers, it could be liver failure.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to hear you say that, because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention, there are people in his chat when he does a show that will super chat him, and they will put a legitimate message out there and say, John, you're a good guy. I think you just need to step away, maybe check into a place, get some help, and John will read it and he'll just go, "Oh, fuck off." And that's his response to it.
It's not an unusual way of approaching those sorts of injunctions. But I want to make sure we're using some specific language here, such as liver failure. It's not technically liver failure. It's just the liver is not keeping up metabolically with the alcohol.
Okay. Let's get back to non-liver failure.
I enjoy doing skull in a bar, and if I'm not friends with the guy that does that, then I'm just a fucking poser. So I refuse.
No, that's why, obviously I said, okay. Everybody can make a mistake.
Hold on a second. Dr. Drew, do people that are alcoholics or liars look up in a way when they're telling a story?
There are people that are expert in that kind of stuff. Alcoholics are, if they didn't lie, they don't have the condition. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's a fee. It's not a glitch in it. It's a feature of alcoholism and addiction. So I always said when my peers would get upset if their patients would lie to them and they're addicts, I would go, look, if they didn't lie to me, their diagnosis would literally be in question. So lying is part of that whole syndrome.
And then you just move on. Hold on. Casey's like, and it's not true. It's just all bullshit.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
But I'll take 8 Coors Lights and I don't feel a thing. Scale! He would laugh too.
He would.
Dave, will you and I be friends forever?
Absolutely, John.
I can answer
That's
that.
the key of an alcoholic right there. I love you. All that bullshit.
Well, at least somebody being drunk. I don't know about being an alcoholic, but being drunk.
Yeah, drunk.
So, the key is, again, the consequence, and the consequences has to be financial. We heard he spent a lot of money. Has to be potentially legal. We saw him maybe driving drunk. Has to be interpersonal. Relationships get screwed up, and we're looking at one that got screwed up here. Work or school, and then would I leave out health? And we've been talking about the health a little bit. So there's sort of some criteria in here that are starting to mount up. But one of the things you really have to see is loss of control. Like he really loses control over his relationship with the alcohol. Is there any evidence of that?
We can move ahead in this clip.
This is a moment in history.
Well, that's why I can sell it.
Well, it also stop for a second. It's also important to add that he's not driving anymore. We don't know why, but he used to have a car and used to drive. Now he's taking Uber
and a motorcycle too.
Yeah, and a motorcycle. But now he's taking Uber or Lyft to the pub.
I actually have concern. Obviously, I'm concerned if he's an alcoholic and out of control. But he also doesn't look like himself. He doesn't look as well as he had.
No.
And so he kind of worries me.
This video and the last video you watch is the same year. It's the same year. The one where
it could all be the alcohol, but it's still like, oh, I hope, I don't think he's somebody that would be forthcoming about something bad going on, would he?
Well, that I feel like is his biggest problem, is like at some point you have to do some self-inventory. It sucks. Nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
But there's no getting out of that situation if you don't do it.
Exactly.
How old is he now?
He just had a birthday.
58, I think.
27. terrible. 27. No, what is he? 40?
58.
Oh, 50. Sorry.
58. Like once you cross 60, it's really hard to change people.
Well, he's dyeing his hair, Drew. In case you're being fooled by this, that's not his natural hair color.
He's youthful.
And he's
appearance.
drinking so much in this episode, he thinks the guy at the end is Harry Carey. So he's kind of throwing everything.
The Cubs win. The Cubs win.
I know. I did that one already.
Stay home tonight, prettiest girl, because I'm hanging out with the fellas.
This is something else.
And it may not go well. She's really pretty.
I text Casey. He never answered back. Now he answered me earlier.
Oh, and the other thing he's mentioning, Casey, and I just want to mention that almost every friendship he's made since returning to podcasting is crashed and burned. Almost every business / broadcasting relationship crash and burn. Is the alcohol more to blame for that, or narcissism?
Well, you're trying to get me to call him a narcissist.
Oh, I'll call him.
But
You
I
don't
will
have
tell
to.
you that's that long-term pattern of difficulty with relationships and work. That is what we call characterologic, right? It doesn't mean he has a character disorder necessarily, but he definitely has some characterological traits that you could inventory and figure out why he's having this problem. Yes, it is. So you're right in that it's in that category.
And my hope in all this, I mean, in all honesty, is maybe a light turns on in there, and so, because he's a guy who places everybody's value based on their credits and what they've done in show business, right?
Mm.
And so Dr. Drew is a guy that he can't thumb his nose at Dr. Drew.
No, he could hate me more. He could hate me more. Let's be fair.
But listen, even if you were family and you wanted to help, he could hate you. So it's
although, yeah, right, of course. But he and I had a nice. I just remember being a very pleasant encounter the time we did meet in person. Maybe more than once. I think there might have been something years ago too.
he was very nice when he would take my calls and put me on hold when I was a caller too. I didn't see any of this coming. So yeah, I felt like he was just upset that I was working at the show and he wasn't anymore, and he just started talking shit and taking shots. And
have you ever woke up in the morning and John was at your house? He seems to have that story a lot. Like
if that happens, I will stalk all of you guys.
Me and Dr. Drew are best friends. I had a slumber party at his house.
thanks for watching that video. Hope you liked it. If you did, here's a few more you can check out. Or if you want to do a deep dive, patreon.com/the Shuli Network. Everything we do is live. So if you're signed up to Patreon, you'll get to be a part of it with us. All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks. Bye.